Richmond-based artist Leah Raintree sees the natural world not only as her subject, but also as her collaborator. She works with materials gathered directly from the environment, inviting the earth to take part in the creative process. Showcase features videographer Brad Vassar sat down with the artist to discover how she lets nature leave its own mark on the canvas.
When I describe my practice, the first thing that I always start with is the ideas that drive how I work. I think about the human connection to time and the earth, and I work through a drawing practice, which is kind of like a pathway to thinking about being in time with attention. I'm Leah Raintree and I'm a visual artist. So I really think about the human connection to earth and the human connection to time and the earth. So that's what drives everything in my practice. I'll often start a new project with a specific line of research or a specific site in mind. So I often work with materials that are collected from specific sites. So earth-based materials are often used in my practice. I work through process really often. I never set out to draw an image of a thing. It's more about drawing as an act for engagement in time. That's a nice way to say it. I'm not doing anything to alter its state. It's really the interaction of the materials from the earth, heat, time, atmosphere. Those are the conditions that come together to make the work, right? So I really invite that, that sense of spontaneity, that sense of material agency that comes from working with found materials. Sometimes I might take sediment from the deep ocean and use it in a ceramics drawing process. So I might work with a flat porcelain slab, drag the material from the earth into the clay body, fire it in the kiln, glaze the ceramic with the deep ocean sediment. So there's so much vitality that the material itself brings to the work. I don't step into an art store and pick out paint. Really, I'm interested in the work being a collaboration with time and the earth. I'm certainly not the only artist that works in this way. Every project is driven by a very particular line of research. So even in my own practice, there's no two projects that are the same. How we engage with time, how we perceive our place on the planet, those are all things that are the core of how I think. And then individual projects will really shape the directions of that particular body of work. It took me a while to fully understand what was driving this interest in working with time and the earth as subject matter. But the more time that I spent thinking it through, it became clear that very early experiences, right? I grew up on a dairy farm in Southwest Virginia. My childhood was just spent out in pastures, out under trees, just really with, the earth and my imagination. I really think that those experiences laid the groundwork to kind of open up how I would work, later in life. I think it was, maybe I was 9 or 10 when I started to really draw in a way that most kids were not drawing. So I came to VCU, came to Richmond when I was 18 to study painting and printmaking at Virginia Commonwealth. It was kind of the place where the act of making art and thinking really came together. So I've always had a drawing practice. It was around 2012 when I really shifted into kind of the subject matter of time and the earth in my practice. I also, around that time, really abandoned image making and became much more interested in process. Right, so there's a body of work that I started in 2012. It's called The Timekeepers. Sometimes they're small drawings, sometimes they're drawings that take me a year, 5 years to make. They're crushed paper. I wet the paper, I crush it. So there's this kind of like physical, singular act that crushes the paper. Once it's dried, I then work with technical pens. So line by line, I'm really responding to the terrain of the paper. So there's no vision that I have ahead of time. It's really about being present with the work, being present with the process, and allowing the work to unfold on its own terms.